At my first job, we did everything in Node.js, vanilla JavaScript, and I never want to do that again. Today, I did something in TypeScript that would have taken me possibly days or even weeks to do in Node.js at my last job. See, there's an API endpoint that we have, and I needed to change the payload type. I needed to change the interface for the network body, and nothing else needed to change. So what that meant was that the code that receives this payload request and creates it and receives it, all the processing code on the client that works with this endpoint, it needed to be changed to work with this new interface type, this new payload type. So if I was using Node.js or a loosely typed language, and I went and changed to the interface type, well, in a loosely typed language, there is no such thing as an interface, really. So, or at least a user-defined one. And so there wouldn't be any compile time or like compiler warnings saying, hey, your interface changed, and now there's a type mismatch. No, in Node or JavaScript, for example, everything would just be objects, and so there wouldn't be any problem. I mean, even if you changed a number to an object or an object to a number, there wouldn't be a problem. So in a type language, though, if you have type car and type dog, and you have a function that takes dog, and then you suddenly now you're passing car in, then your integrated development environment is going to start screaming at you and saying, hey, you're passing a car into a dog function. I think you better take a look here. It might even refuse to compile the program at all, so you won't even be able to run the program until you fix the issue. So anyway, today I went and changed the artifact payload type on the endpoint and the interface. And what would have taken me days, if not weeks, to round up all of the little pieces of code throughout this huge code base that are referencing it in random places, only took me an hour or two, because every little place where the interface was being used suddenly was highlighted in red. My TypeScript wouldn't successfully compile the code because there were compile time warnings. So I wasn't even in runtime yet, hadn't even started running the program yet. At runtime, which is the TypeScript checker, you can get plugins for any integrated development environment like VS Code or IntelliJ, which is what I use. It immediately started calling out, hey, this thing's broken, this thing's broken. And so thanks to the powers of a typed language like TypeScript, I was able to round up all of the locations in this gigantic enterprise code base and change them out to deal with the new interface. And at certain points, I needed to write some code that would convert from the old interface to the new interface. And of course, I had to write a bunch of unit tests, like at least 6 different unit tests. Each one of them is going to be testing a fairly massive piece of conversion code. But at the heart of things, it's all very simple. I can write a bunch of conversion functions that say, I'm going to take the old type and give you the new type, or I'm going to take the new type and give you the old type. I can write the prototypes for the functions, and I can write all of the assertions and the tests, asserting that things will work. And I haven't actually filled in the test bodies yet, and some of the conversion functions, function bodies are empty as well. But thanks to the type system, I can essentially do all of the hard thinking up front. I can say all these different places where these types are going to need to be handled. Thanks. Now I know where they are. Let me fix them all. Let me write some tests to make sure these things will work guaranteed before I make a pull request, and job's done. So are there a lot of reasons to use a strongly typed language over a loosely typed language? Yes, tons. And the one I wanted to cover today was simply that it makes refactoring code easier. When you go to refactor your code, whether that's to make it look prettier, move it into separate files, or maybe you're not refactoring, maybe you're changing a whole interface entirely from, for example, a cat to a dog. When you go to change code, well, hey, even if that code is being used in hundreds of different files spread across an enterprise code base that hundreds of different people have been working on for years, yeah, type systems let you know all the little places that you're going to have to touch before things unbreak and start working again. So should you use a typed language over a loosely typed language? Yes, definitely.